episode 26. Hello. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I hope everyone is doing well. How are you? Alright, so we're just gonna jump straight into it. I don't like to lie to you. I like to be very honest and open and transparent, and I don't like to treat you like you're a doofus. So here's the deal. First of all, Matt Moments Digest. That's done. We're not doing that anymore. I know, I'm sorry. The subscription has been canceled. Well, not canceled. It's been postponed. We're postponing the subscription indefinitely. The quality just wasn't good. You know, I didn't like some of the issues. It just, you didn't need to read them. So we're just gonna put it on the shelf. And second, so far lately, and I'm just gonna be open and vulnerable, and you know what? I'm just gonna be honest with you. Lately, my free time has been shifted around, and I like to spend my free time doing things that I would like to do, and I don't want to do. I especially don't like making content when I don't feel like doing it, because the quality would be hindered, and I don't want the quality to be hindered. I want to do the content when I want to do it, because that is when the content is at its best. And if I have to take a day, then that is what I will do, because I would rather the content come out and be good than the content come out consistently and be bad. Because I can upload a gabillion videos a day, but if they're all bad, and I could upload 1 million videos a day and they could be all be like 10 minutes, but if they're all if all of them have a subpar quality, I'd delete all of them. I'd want all of them to be gone. So, I would rather upload one video and the quality is really good and you watch the whole thing and you're like, wow, this video is really good. Like a JonTron, or dare I say an internet historian. That's right. I said he who shall not be named, gosh darn it. But it is a good formula? Either way, it's a good concept to go by. So, so I just we're going to just do that. Also, little third thing, little PS. I was like, look, the length of the podcast, it's great, but it's just a little too long. I kind of like I kind of agree with my brother. I like a little bite-sized, 45-minute to an hour-long podcast, something to eat, I like my content to be digestible. I use that word a lot. You want it to be digestible. That's what I said. If the quality, I don't want to upload something consistent and it's bad. If I'm giving you food every day but the food's bad, it's like, well, I don't want to eat this. But if you're eating your own thing and then I'm like, hey, food's coming tomorrow, and you're like, all right, cool, and then the next day, and you're like, all right, hey, listen, food's going to be delayed a little bit, but then you get it, and then it's really tasty, and you eat the whole thing, and you're like, well, it was really good, you're like, all right, and that's what I'm thinking. Not many people will agree with me, and that's all right, because, you know what, maybe you like content coming out at specific times and whatnot, and maybe so, because I, as an avid YouTube connoisseur, right, there's a lot of content creators that I follow that I don't even know their schedule. I just watch the video, and if it's up, it's up, and if it's not, I'm like, all right, fine, and I just go do something else. I don't really. I at the end of the day, and this is what I firmly believe. I'm not trying to project. They're human beings. If they're sick, there's a lot of one YouTuber, Dawko, I watch. He'll film. Well, technically he'll film. He'll make content and be like, oh, I'm sick, and it's like I'm not saying, listen, and that's his prerogative. If he's sick, but because sometimes, I swear it was when he was playing Five Nights at Freddy's. I swear there was one time he was like, oh, I had to go take a nap because my head was hurting, but I'm back now to make more content. And I think there were others. It's not just him. I swear there were other times I was watching YouTubers and they were like, oh, this is the next day. But, it's just, and that's why, and I don't really care. That's my thing. My point is that I don't really care. At the end of the day, they're human beings. If they don't want to record or they're under the weather or whatever, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, I like their content. I like them as a person. So whatever they put out, I'm okay with. I just wanted to throw that out there. So without further ado, folks, no more rambling. We're just gonna jump straight into it. The Wrestling Observer says they were told, quote, not to read into anything related to John Cena or Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 40 in relation to the main event matches. There is a, quote, mystery slot on the show, however, but it's unknown who it's for right now. Why do we keep doing this? Can I just ask? Can I just be the guy in the room way in the back? Hello, Ed Boy, Ringside News. No, Ringside. And I would get escorted out, and they would pick me up by my arms, I would dangle, and they would, man, I'd do one and a two, and heave me out of the door, man. God, I'm so shit. Anyway, why are we doing the legends at WrestleMania? Hey, can we just move on from that? Nothing's wrong with them. Love Stone Cold, love him, great guy. But every year it's that. And I know I've been watching the TikToks, and I know he's working out. Hey, he could just be staying in shape, you know. It could all just be he could just be a big phony and not, and just not, come. And John doesn't have to come either. I know he shows up and Grayson Waller comes out and he's like, oh, you'll shit you. Oi. Oh, no, sorry, hold on. I can do this. Oh, Sheila, you know, good at wrestling, you. Oh, I'm better than you, mate. Oh, Grayson Waller is me mate. Austin Theory. What's it? A-Town, Down Under. We're better than you, mate. Better than all of you. Except for Australia. Australia's best. Australia number one. And then he gets smacked up, and that's usually what happens. So, we don't have to do that every year. We don't. We could just have a WrestleMania. Perfectly fine. It's WrestleMania in Philly. They're in the link. Shout out to the Birds. Oh, man. We got Saquon Barkley, and I think that was it. I may be thinking of basketball because I think we got Cameron Payne on the Sixers, and then man, the Phillies have been getting, well. I think we won. Man, I can't remember who was it. It wasn't the Nuggets. Either way, I'm going off on a tangent. I digress. Anyway, you don't have to have legends. Just do the Philadelphia cameo thing. That was my point. Just do Jason Kelce. Hey, it's me, Jason Kelce. Go Birds. Maybe Jalen shows up. If Jalen shows up, I'm gonna yards. I don't know. Man. But yeah, you don't need Steve and John there. I know I should be saying that, but you know who they are. I don't think they need to be there. I don't think we even need to be doing it as a whole. Is my entire point. I don't think we need to even be doing it as a whole. I think that universally we could just do away with the entire thing, and the show wouldn't suffer. And I know that we do that because it's WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl, and we do it because they do it because it's like, oh, you may not have a single solitary clue what the hell's going on here. So here's John Cena, here's Stone Cold, here's The Undertaker, I don't know. Here's some guy that you don't know. He's gonna come out here and he's gonna talk smack, and then John Cena's gonna hit his move, and then you're gonna be like, all right, that was great. It's like halftime almost. You kind of do that just to sort of get everybody who they get all the casual fans sucked in, But yeah, I don't want to keep saying the same thing. Next, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament is expected to be added to WrestleMania 40, per the Observer. And quote, as of last week, it was booked to be billed as a Philadelphia street fight. Listen, great. Sounds like a kickoff match. I'm not going to lie to you. Hey, this is not at all what I thought was going to happen with this storyline. Did anybody have repeated matches on their bingo card? Because this was not at all what I thought was going to take place when I heard that the Pride, as I assume they were going to be called, or I assume that's just what they're going to be called, because, they're just saying Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, but I thought they were going to. Anyway, why are they having matches over and over again? Why are they not moved on? Both of them. This is a question that could pertain to the two of them at the same time. Why are they not moved on and doing something else right now? Why are they not in the six-pack challenge? That is a perfect spot for them to be on. Either one of them. I don't care. Both of them. Who cares? Why are they not in the six-pack challenge? Great, they're going to be added to WrestleMania. I hope that means that they're going to be added to WrestleMania in the six-pack challenge, if that's what that means. What are they doing, man? Listen, man. Karrion Kross, man, this poor son of a bitch just shows up and he's all spooky and he's got Scarlett, and Scarlett's a smokehouse. But, like, that's all that happens. They show up and it's spooky, and then that's it. You got Paul Ellering in the Altars of Pain. That's great, man. The Final Testament. That's fantastic. I'm not even trying to be sarcastic in any sense of the word. What in the Sam Hill are we doing? They are just sitting there, man, and so is the Pride. No one is doing anything. They're having matches over and over again, and their BFAB is getting involved. Listen, great for BFAB, but, like, what is going on? You know, there needs to be more. Maybe I'm just not keeping up on the SmackDown. That's another thing. I really need to just be, like, watching the show and absorbing it, because I watch the shows and, like, I almost, like, overanalyze, and I don't focus on anything because I'm, like, trying to focus too much on what's happening right in front of me. You know what I mean? I feel like I need to watch the show. I feel like I'll remember it better and retain a lot more. In fairness, though, it's a lot of shows throughout the week. You know, when I go to work and I come home and my brain shifts a lot of things around, so, you know, I won't always remember things. And also, I think I'm just an idiot as well. I think I've talked about this already. Either way, though. Anyway, so... but yeah, my main point is that the Pride and the Final Testament, as great as a faction as they both are, because I love the both of them, and they are both of them are fantastic wrestlers. I have really nothing bad to say about any one of the members of each faction. Do you understand what I'm saying? My point is that none of them are doing anything, and it bothers me. And I hope it bothers them. I hope that they're noticing this and, like, nothing's really happening. Right? Am I nuts? Nothing is really progressing. It's just match after match after match, and really the same thing happens. Disqualification, you know, one of them gets laid out, that's really it. Tag match here, singles match there. More needs to happen, more needs to develop, you know? Otherwise, you know, it's just going to keep being this. It's just going to keep being, you know, back and forth, seesaw, and I don't really like that. So, well, I personally don't like it, so I would like it to change. Ridge Holland's current NXT angle where he's, quote, retiring due to real and storyline injuries wrestlers have suffered in matches with him is one he's, quote, been motivated to do, according to Fightful Select. They add that Holland has been, quote, receptive to suggestions about the program. So he heard Biggie and he was like, my bad. And then I forget who else he heard. I think he injured 2 people and he was like, oh shit, my bad. And then he came back and he was like, I've been injuring a lot of people. And then Io was in storyline and he was like, gosh darn, I've been injuring a lot of people. And then Gallus was like, oh, you suck. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to fight all 3 of them. And he was like, no, what are you doing? And then he didn't do that. And then he was like, I quit. I'm leaving. So... man, where do I begin? So what's gonna happen? You know, like I was reading this. I was watching along, and I was like, okay, well, he's gone, and I was like, all right. Seems a bit odd for him to just be injuring people and then leave. It just seems kind of weird that's the you know, the note that he left off on, and then it was, oh, it's not real. I was like, okay, so now what? Like, now what are we doing? You know, like, he's gonna come back, assuming. He's on the alumni section, but, like, quote-unquote, he's on the alumni section, right? He's gonna come back. So, like, and I already talked about this. So he's gonna come back, right? So he's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, I love injuring people, like Xia Li, where, like, he injures people, like, on purpose. Or is he gonna come back and be like, I don't want to injure people, that was never my intention. Hey, it's me, Ridge Holland. I'm here to wrestle. Because he didn't really need to leave for that to happen. Or is he going to come back and be a completely different person? I'm not Ridge Holland anymore. I am this guy. You know, like, what are we doing here? Right? Because he can't pull a Karrion Kross where he comes back and he's not really doing anything. To be honest with you. Because I really hate that, if you can't tell. God, that really burns my bread, burns my toes. Okay? Why do wrestlers do the thing where they're like, oh, I don't want to go away for a little bit? And I don't mean like real life where they're like, oh, I have to step away for family. I mean like they go away and because the gimmick isn't working out or something, and then they come back and it's either a new gimmick or it's the same gimmick, and they're doing matches and maybe they're in a storyline or two, but nothing gets their head above the water. I feel like that is what's going on with Ridge. I feel like after he got out of what the hell they were called, with Sheamus and Butch, the fighting foursome or whatever, right? After that, he wasn't really like doing anything crazy, and I was really hoping that, well, because, Pete Dunne, he's branched off and Sheamus is injured, but when Sheamus comes back, Sheamus knows enough to keep his head above water anyway, and they're going to do that regardless. But Ridge himself, just singularly, isn't really doing a whole lot, and I feel like you can do something with Ridge. There's something that is there for him on the table that he can pick up and start swinging around. It's not like it's completely empty. He can do something. He's open to suggestions, which is good to hear, right? He's not just like, no, ill, gross, stop it. That's good. I just don't want him to come back and he just has a gimmick that really just, I don't even know how to explain it. He just comes back and the gimmick is really mundane. The gimmick is just like, oh, okay, all right, I don't know how to explain it, to be totally honest with you. Man, so if he does come back, right, what is the best gimmick for him to have? It's gotta be a gimmick where it's either gotta be, you either gotta come back as someone completely brand new, keep the name if you want to, but you gotta come back as someone completely different, or you gotta come back and be like, hey, you know what, clean slate, because you can't come back and be like, I hurt people now, because that's stupid. You can't be like, oh, I thought about it. Actually, hurting people is pretty cool. That's dumb. That's a dumb thing to do, So, I think it needs to come back, and it needs to be way more dominant, because he is very powerful, and he is very strong, and it needs to utilize that. He can't come back and be a high flyer, because that was, what, so, that'd be great, though. Come back and he's a masked wrestler. That'd be pretty cool. Either way, my point, I don't want to drag this on, but the point is, come back. Someone different. Per Meltzer, Drew McIntyre wasn't in a rush to re-sign with WWE because, quote, he wasn't booking his book. Hold on a second. Per Meltzer, Drew McIntyre wasn't in a rush to re-sign with WWE because quote, he wanted to do this new character, and if the new character didn't work out and the booking wasn't strong, the idea was maybe go back home and spend time with the family and take time off. Drew's asking price should theoretically be higher now than 6 months ago because he's, quote, a much bigger star and he's got big programs to come back to, which makes a lot of sense. And I would agree with that. And I think that is something that is going to factor in, right? He's here until May, and it seems like they're going to do... Listen, it's going to be Rollins McIntyre, and then it's going to be Punk McIntyre. I don't know if it's going to be McIntyre or somebody else after that. That really depends on the fabric of time itself. But it sounds like Rollins McIntyre, Punk McIntyre. I don't know if it's going to be for the title for Punk McIntyre. I don't 100% know. That really depends. Well, they're, the whole Bet Online thing where they're like, oh, so-and-so is retaining. Bet Online was saying that Drew McIntyre was going to win the title. I think, if I remember correctly, they were saying that Drew was going to win. I don't know. Because, and I talked about this, Punk was in commentary. I wanted him to be a ref, but whatever. Maybe it'll change. Either way, point is, Punk's more, I would say, 85% going to get involved. And that's why I was like, so here's the deal. Drew's going to win, and whether Punk gets involved or not is not going to matter. So either Punk can get involved or not, who cares? Drew's going to win. Or Drew's going to lose, and if Drew loses, Drew's probably going to lose because of Punk, and that's how that's going to lead into that. It was going to lead into it regardless, but I think doing that is a fantastic way to steamroll that match into the next pay-per-view, right? So, listen, early prediction, gosh, I'm going to say Rollins retains because Punk gets involved. Punk, you gotta get involved. If you're making such a stink and a fart and a poop if you're making such a rah, get involved. You're over here, well, I can be the special guest, or I can be the commentary and all that sort of stuff. Then you gotta get involved. Then you have to. You can't do like Mercedes Moné and just sort of yap and not really say anything, to be honest with you. And then the match ends, and you didn't really, have a whole lot to do with it. If you're making such a big hullabaloo, I fully expect him to get involved in the match in some capacity. And cost Drew the match, Rollins retains, Drew Punk. Okay? Otherwise, the crux of, and this is why, my earlier point was, if Punk does get involved, it can steamroll the storyline. But there's already enough that you can go back to in the past to where if Punk doesn't get involved, fine. I guess you don't have to put sauce on the sandwich. Man, it'll enhance it, but the sandwich itself will still be, with the fixins, right? So, I think that at the end of the day, Punk should get involved. I personally believe in my heart of hearts that Punk should get involved, because otherwise, what the hell are we doing here? What is Punk doing here, mainly? Finally, regarding Jack Perry's reported claim that he hasn't cleared anything he's done in NJPW with Tony Khan, Meltzer says, quote, "There's no way that anything an AEW contracted talent working in New Japan is going to be done without the approval of AEW, let alone an angle where he supposedly tore up his AEW contract." That's a good point. It is. Now, in fairness, it's a piece of paper. We live in 2024. He could have very well taken a picture of the bloody thing, page by page, scanned it on his phone, and used his little mini printer to print out an exact copy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, for that to be fake is not out of the realm of possibility. What are we doing? And this is the thing that this is the question that you 100% have to answer. I don't care who you are. You can make whatever storyline you want. If it's a storyline, if it's, you know what I'm saying? If it's a movie, if it's a video game, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing? Jack? Yeah. Are you coming back to AEW or not? Are you coming back to AEW? Yes. Okay. All right, you're back in AEW. So what do you, so now what? Well, now my character is, I'm this rebellious, standoffish, aloof heel. Okay. Are you going to win a title? No. Oh my God, Jack, and get out, then leave, then go to NJPW for the love of Jesus. Okay. Hey, you're beating Eddie Kingston for his strong, sorry, Eddie, but like, Jack, you gotta do something, boss man. You can't show back up, and you're pretty much just Jack, but without the cop part in it, without the weird, like, what is it? What the hell in a cell is it called? I'll be back. Terminator Salvation, futuristic, justice gimmick. It's just, I'm just a shithead. Like, Jack, boss man, you gotta do something, and you have to win a title, because, Lord, I'm not having you just stand around. That's what I'm saying. If he's going to come back and, man, nothing is going to culminate, please stay with NJPW. Just stay with them. Man, flip Tony Khan off. You're in NJPW. You can say the fuck word. Just say that to Tony, man, and just stay there. Because if he comes back to AEW and he doesn't make waves, right? Because I feel like that is what needs to happen here. Because he's really making a big kerfuffle about Tony Khan and CM Punk, and Tony Khan is saying he's the scapegoat, and then it's this talk about how it's real and it's talk about how it's fake. It's causing a dust up. It's causing a noticeable dust tornado in the sand, and it's people are looking over at it, right? So if all of this hullabaloo and faff and waffle is taking place, and Jack comes back and nothing happens, What in the Sam, why do we talk about it? Just my personal opinion. What do we go on about it for if he's going to come back and really nothing is going to happen? If I think a stronger statement would be made if he stayed in NJPW. Rode this out just a little bit longer and then just stayed in NJPW. Won a bunch of championships, qualified for the G1, and then came back to go to WWE, and then go to AEW. Really, make a point out of this. Because, man alive, if you're going to do all this and then come back and nothing else. I know I keep saying it. I know. I'm sorry. But do you get my point? Mamma mia. Please, Jack. Man, I don't even know how to explain it. On behalf of all of us listening and watching and what have you, Lord on the cross, please do not come back and do nothing. Okay? folks, that's it. Well, that's it for the rumors. I don't like doing that, but technically that is it. So now I need everybody to get up. Yes, I'm sorry, but we do need to get packed. You don't need to pack a lot. We're not going to be there long. We're going to be there for like 2 days. You don't need to pack swim trunks. Man, I'm not swimming. You can pack trunks if you want to. If you want to swim, you can. I'm just gonna take my socks and shoes off. I'm packing sandals. It's gonna be kind of hot, so I'm packing open-toed shoes. I'm gonna bring my Crocs. That's a good idea. I'm just gonna stand in the water. I don't like really going deep in there anyway, you know. So I have shorts. I don't know. I just like doing this. Your shorts are in the dryer. We live together, apparently. I guess we're roommates. I know that I don't know what's happening. Either way, you know, you don't have to pack a whole lot is my point. It's up to you. Make sure you pack all of your essentials. If you need like an EpiPen or your what's it? The thing for your diabetes, the thing where you got to prick your finger, make sure you bring that, you know, your hearing aid, any pills that you may need, because I care about your safety, all right? It's going to be hot and humid, and I don't want you to, you know, be ill or anything. Folks, are you good? Are you all packed? Are you ready to go? Make sure it's zipped up, like all the way. Make sure it's zipped up all the way. All right, we're good to go. Come on. We're getting on the train, and we're heading over to Rumination Station. That's right. That's right. That train horn is the sound of us arriving at Rumination Station, boys. So, today is Death by Guillotine Painless. That's right, okay? We're jumping into this, all right? It's written by Jake Rawson on March 12th. The controversy over capital punishment revolves around a series of moral questions. Does the state have the authority to take a life? And if so, how should that life be most humanely snuffed? Drug and lethal gas cocktails can be unpredictable. See? Okay, sorry, sidebar. Okay, so recently, they have been used. I don't remember where in the world it is. I don't want to say Texas. I could be wrong. They're somewhere in the United States, and they're doing the thing where they inject your body with nitrous. It's like CO2 or something like that. They inject your body with like a hazardous chemical, and it kills you. And they started, and I swear they did this on one dude, and it didn't work. And they were like, all right, we're gonna do it again, you know, at a later date or something like that. And, you know, this very question was brought up of, like, how it's being done, you know, and the way it's being done and how it's, like, messing up and stuff like that. And he, like, I swear he got, like, spoken to about it and stuff like that. And, this was, I don't remember because this was like at least like 2 months ago. This was ages ago. But me and my brother were having this conversation about, like, you know, ways that it's being done and that sort of stuff like that. We could be here for years talking about this, you know. Drug and lethal gas cocktails can be unpredictable. Electrocution can be seemingly barbaric. Death by guillotine, in contrast, is almost ceremonial. The offender beheaded with one swift cut of the blade. That electrocution can be seemingly barbaric. Yeah, but we've been doing it for so long, though. We've been doing the electric chair for, like, ages now. So, I mean, listen. You know, who am I? You know? Despite its viscerally gruesome nature, some argue that the guillotine might be the most painless of execution methods. A heavy blade makes abrupt work of nerves, tendons, and the spinal cord. Listen. Oh, we're getting into it, honey. Okay, Mary? We're getting into it. So, you better. Okay? We're talking about the muscles and the tendons and the spinal cord, you stupid bitch. So, you better strap the fuck in, baby doll, because it's giving French Revolution, okay? It's giving death. it's serving headless, all right? We're getting into it, all right? In theory, that should mean an instant death. But is it really? And how would we ever know? It's exceedingly difficult to get anecdotal data on whether someone who has been beheaded continues to endure physical discomfort. If we take the question to mean whether someone's consciousness persists following decapitation, there's a bit more to go on. Anecdotal reports of the guillotine remaining briefly aware, have persisted throughout the centuries. When English Queen Anne Boleyn was deprived of her corporeal form in 1536, witnesses swore her lips continued moving as though she had one final message to communicate. In 1905, ambitious French physician Jacques Bourreau tried calling out the name of a man, Languille, who had just been beheaded. The man, he said, appeared to fix his gaze on him. I have heard that very same report at least 5 separate times. Now, listen, I wasn't there. I don't know. But I also remember, now, follow me. Way back when I was a wee lad, I remember hearing that if you get your head cut, it has to be a quick, swift, it can't be delayed in any word. If it is a swift cut to the head, you are still alive for at least 10 seconds. And then as I got older, it developed into you are still alive because your brain is technically still firing off synapses to your head. Because your brain is still connected. It's your neck, So your brain is still like doing stuff up there. I don't know if it's true. Bourreau wrote, next, Languille's eyes very definitely fixed themselves on mine, and the pupils focused themselves. What? I was not then dealing with the sort of vague, dull look without any expression. That could be observed any day in dying people to whom one speaks. I was dealing with undeniably living eyes which were looking at me. After several seconds, the eyelids closed again, slowly and evenly, and the head took on the same appearance as it had before I called out. That is crazy. But he wrote it down, though. But to write it down. But to write it down, though. But to be like, this shit is so buck wild, I actually have to, take a note of this. It's enough to be like, oh, it's enough to say it. It's enough to be like, yo, check it. This is what popped off last night, right? It's a whole other thing to be like, this shit needs to be documented. I'm just saying. But critics have charged that Bourreau's story was inconsistent. Though he insisted he didn't touch the head, it would have been almost impossible to make eye contact with Languille given that his cranium had fallen into a bucket. No, you can walk up to the bucket. No, I object. You can walk up to the bucket and look in. If no bucket and head roll and you have to follow head, inconclusive. In bucket, stationary area. You can see the eyes. Head can't fall face down, makes no sense. Head and bucket, plausible. I'm back, what's his name? I'm back on Team Bourreau. Okay, hold on. Okay. Scientists have attempted to provide more objective data in animals. A 2013 study PDF out of New... Okay, sorry, that's the PDF of the study, sorry. A 2013 study out of New Zealand examined the brain activity of beheaded rats using... it's EEG. Electroencephalographic monitoring. So let's fucking go, boys. I can't read. Tiny rodent-sized guillotines, great, were crafted up, and the rats sedated before being beheaded. Well, all right. Surprisingly, EEG activity persisted for 10 to 15 seconds following the severing of their heads. I told you, see? A window where they could, in theory, experience pain. The same could be true for humans. Does this mean those reports of prisoners looking perturbed were valid? Not necessarily. Muscle movements and, spasms, that's true. Oh, that is the most horrifying thing I have ever thought of in my entire life. Imagine a head being cut off and the face is in anguish and it's moving around. It's not them making the face. That is their muscles constricting and oh my good lord. Okay, muscle movements in the face could have been post-mortem twitches that observers inferred to be conscious expressions. Ooh. So was he looking at him, or was it the muscles in his eyes? You be the judge. In 1789, Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine advocated for death by a gravity-assisted blade like a guillotine, which were already in existence, by making it sound almost serene. Like a cool breath on the back of the... quote, like a cool breath on the... I'm in this. Sorry about this. I'm in this. Quote, like a cool breath on the back of the neck, he said. Quote, the blade hisses, the head falls, blood spurts. Oh, the man exists no more. With my machine, I'll have your head off in the blink of an eye, and you will not suffer at all. 3 years later, the guillotine was the law of the land. Not long after, physicians and others began to express doubt and the lack of suffering part of that pitch. Charlotte Corday was said to blush after her beheading. But you got your head cut off, so of course blood's... What do you mean? Though that seems unlikely given the lack of a circulatory system. The doubt persisted through France's use of the device, which ran all the way through 1977. 1977? Sorry, not 1877. 1977. So, like, while my dad was still kicking around. 1977... He's still kicking around, by the way. I'm saying, you know, like when he was spry, when he was young enough to like fall over and just get up and just nothing happened, you know. Put another way, the guillotine was still in use just as Star Wars was hitting theaters. Like, huh? Sorry? As 2023 paper published in the journal Curious? Cureus. Curious? I'm going to say curious, summarized the debate. Quote, the evidence currently available to us is scant, and the studies that imply that there is a retained awareness in decapitated rats for several seconds suffer from a low sample size. Okay, that's fair. Not enough data. While the best evidence currently available to us suggests that loss of consciousness is nearly instant in decapitation for both human and rodent models, it is possible that the truth will never be fully known. I was thinking about that the other day. I've been thinking about this lately. Okay. I feel like what is legally and morally wrong to test on that scientists really, really want to understand? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, are there like poisons and diseases and pathogens and stuff that scientists have right now locked up somewhere that they don't know how it works, but they know, given the DNA, they know that it is bad? Do you think that they are saying to themselves, I wish that we could pay someone $1 billion, give them this pathogen, and then over the next however long they are alive, we just document what happens to them? Do you think that that is what they're doing? Because this made me think, I wonder if there's a scientist out there that's just like, I wish I had, not me, okay, the scientist. Do you think there's a scientist out there who is in his lab and he's like, man, I'm not a murderer. Hey, everyone, he like opens the door to his lab and he calls out to the hallway and no one's there, but he's like, hey, I'm not a murderer. He closes the door and he like looks at the security camera and he mouths the words, I am not a murderer. But he sits there and he just says to himself, I wish I had a group, a controlled group of people, human beings, that I could just chop their heads off and see what the fuck happens, because we don't know the answer to this question. And I am curious and I would like to know, and I am not going to enact on murder or beheading or anything of the sort, because I am a stable human being. I'm not going to do that. But if I had, not in a perfect world, let's just pretend we lived in a fantasy world where anything was possible. I would take one just random man, not affiliated with anyone, and I'd multiply him by 100, and I'd cut his head off 100 times, and I would see what would happen. Listen, in a fantasy world where nothing makes sense and you can do whatever you want, I see nothing wrong with that. And if you want to understand the data and you want to learn a little bit more about, the human body and biology and the guillotine, that's fine. But we don't live in that world. We live in the real world where murder is wrong and the guillotine is no longer in use. So, at this point, it's nothing more than a pipe dream. And on that note, folks, sleep well tonight. What? Yeah, because you may get your head cut off. Anyway, By a guillotine, specifically by a guillotine. Or, you don't. Anyway, what am I talking about? Hey, I'm going to go now. Folks, hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.